Today, I think we're going to talk about Maslow's hierarchy. For those of you that don't know what that is, it is his hierarchy of needs. It starts at the bottom, starting with psychological needs, and it goes all the way up to the top with self-actualization. It is a pyramid, clearly. The pyramid is broken up into several different sections, and each section represents a different part of what a human needs, according to him, to be whole, basically, to be happy, to be content, to be a properly rounded, full-functioning member of society. So at the bottom, we've got psychological needs. These are things that would include food, drink, oxygen, temperature regulation, going to the bathroom, rest, activity, the basics, the bare basics. Next up, we have safety needs. Protection from potentially dangerous objects or situations, protection from the elements, physical illness, threats that are both physical and psychological, like the fear of the unknown, like kids that are scared of the dark, those kind of things, and the importance of routine and familiarity. Next up, we have love and belongingness. Receiving and giving love. Affection, trust, and acceptance. Affiliating, being part of a group, such as family, friends, work, extracurricular activities, during or after school, things like that. I'm going to stop with this one, and we're going to talk about that. So if somebody told you that you were selfish for being thirsty for like a glass of water, you'd probably laugh at them and tell them that they were crazy. Yes-ish, right? You'd probably just look at them like they were bonkers. If somebody told you that you were selfish for wanting to go to the doctor because you were deathly ill, about the same reaction. You're probably fucking nuts. What are you talking about? If somebody told you that you were selfish for wanting to be loved, what would your reaction be? Would it be the same? For a lot of people, the reaction is not the same. And that is bullshit. 100%. If somebody told you that you were selfish for wanting to love, whether that be a pet, whether that be a sibling or a partner, a romantic partner, whether, I don't know, you wanted to care for a ficus, a plant. If somebody told you that you were selfish for wanting to give love, what would your reaction be? The reason I want to stop on this one, I recently had an inbox where a friend of mine asked me if he was selfish because a friend of his was going to be more or less exiting his life, basically starting off a new life, and therefore wouldn't have time for him, therefore wouldn't have enough time to show him the care and affection that he'd been accustomed to. And this had really upset him. And he said he felt selfish over this. And I couldn't understand why he would feel so selfish over this. And his response was he should be more supportive of his friend. Okay, sure. But at the same time, you're telling me that somebody who cares for you is leaving. So why is that selfish? In my mind, you have every fucking right to be upset, to cry, to be angry, to be confused, hurt, upset, to feel victimized, to take it personally. You have every right to go through whatever emotion is coursing through your veins right now, as long as you don't unpack and live there. So this is why I'm going over the hierarchy of needs. Every single thing on this hierarchy, nothing on here makes you a selfish person. Nothing. Whether you're lacking it in your own life or you're trying to search for it, nothing on here makes you a selfish person. Wanting to be loved does not make you selfish. Wanting to give love does not make you selfish. At all. Ever. You, especially, I feel like people with mental health issues especially put a lot of pressure on themselves to make themselves feel like they're too much, like their existence, like our existence is just too much. We're not too much. We're just enough. Always. We are always just enough. If somebody who had always cared for you or who had always made you felt cared for is exiting your life or starting a new life, starting a new adventure, and just won't be in as much contact with you, you have every right to be upset. You can celebrate their lives later. Be upset. Seriously. Why not? So next up, after love and belongingness, we have esteem, respect of others, and self-esteem, self-respect. Self-respect is a big one. Not a lot of people respect themselves, and it's completely understandable why. We live in a society where we are constantly either comparing ourselves to somebody else or we are always being compared to other people. Personally, growing up, my family, myself, I was always compared to somebody else. Why can't you be more like this person? Well, this person's family has this rule, so we apparently have this rule now too. Like, fuck off. Just fuckity bye. No, we don't have that rule. We didn't have that rule all 12 years of me growing up. We ain't having that rule now. No. So it's really hard to have a sense of self-anything when you're always being compared or always comparing or always striving to be somebody else. At the end of the day, though, you need to remember you are the one going home with you. When it is 2 or 3 in the morning and nobody's answering their phones, you are the one that you have to sit with your own thoughts. You are the one that needs to console you. You need to matter to yourself. You need to respect yourself because nobody else is going to be able to console you when you're all alone. It is so important that you do the best you can to block out what everybody else is saying and focus on you. Find the good qualities that you have. You have so many. Focus on them. Grow them. Let them blossom. Let them bloom. Let them develop. If your circle of friends or your social circle in general includes people who make you feel devalued, bye-bye. Shoot. You don't need them. I promise you. It sounds really, really terrible to say, but at the end of the day, you have yourself. You don't have anybody else. If you end up back in a mental health facility, you're by yourself. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning and the power's out, you're by yourself. You need to matter to you. Your opinion matters to you. You should love yourself. Out of everything you've been through, you have survived 100% of it. That's a pretty good track record. Especially for all those attempts that I know some of you have done. You still survived that shit. That's pretty fucking awesome. Next up on our list, we have cognitive needs. So that would be knowledge, understanding, curiosity, exploration. And then we have aesthetic needs, beauty in art and nature, symmetry, balance, order, form. So I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like people with mental health issues are so fucking beautiful. And I don't mean to romanticize mental health in any way, shape, or form. I think the media does enough of that. I just mean the perspective that you have when you're an outcast your entire life, you're the black sheep of the family, you know, you've knocked on death's door and been denied. You just have a different perspective on the world. And whether you choose to share that through writing or through the clothes that you wear or through paintings, I just find that really unique. I find that really beautiful. It's passionate is what it is. It's passion. So many people are passionate about so many things, but there's just something I'm drawn to. Probably because I can relate to it. I love that. I do. I love that. And then the last one is self-actualization. So that would be understanding your full potential and kind of running with it, basically. Becoming everything one is capable of becoming. Which I don't know if anybody ever reaches that stage, to be honest. I mean, maybe that means something different to everybody. Maybe that is the carrot we're all supposed to chase. Maybe. But basically, out of this whole segment, I just want to be taken away that people with mental health issues, we make ourselves feel guilty enough as is. We don't need to feel guilty for existing. We don't need to feel guilty because it's too hot in this room and we need it to cool down. We don't need to feel guilty because we need a routine. Okay, we're not selfish for needing a routine. We're not selfish for being thirsty. We're not selfish for needing to go to the fucking bathroom. Okay, like honestly, what would you tell somebody if they told you that you were selfish for needing to go to the bathroom? Like honestly, suck my dick. That is probably about as PG rated as I could make my answer. And you are certainly not selfish for wanting to be loved. Anybody who makes you feel otherwise or tries to tell you otherwise, I honestly hope you have a plethora of comebacks prepared. Because holy shit, is that not okay? There is a reason this is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's because you don't get to choose which parts of these you are going to accept in order to be a fully functioning, proper human. Every single one of these steps, every single one of these breakdowns is something that you actually do need in order to be content. Just content. Not happy, not overjoyed, just content. Just getting by. Another really important one here, going back to the esteem ones, is a sense of competence. So that means a sense of you're not an idiot. A lot of people, whether it's because we're so apologetic, because we feel like we're taking up so much space, or because of the relationships we're in, because of the relationships we've been in, because of our past experiences, nobody should ever make you feel like an idiot. Ever. Even if you say something completely fucking stupid, there are always nicer ways to phrase things, to teach things. You're not an idiot. Sometimes our brains just don't work. Sometimes our brains are on overdrive, trying to keep our hearts going at a steady rate instead of spiking upwards. Sometimes our brains are busy trying to make sure that our breathing stays nice and level so that we don't have a panic attack or an anxiety attack. Sometimes our brains are trying to keep back all of our fears and our thoughts so that we don't lose control. Sometimes our brains are just busy looking around the room and finding all the exit points and, cataloging all the people's faces that are around us so that if anything ever goes wrong, we can point them all out and we can give a detailed police report. Our brains are sometimes really busy. So sometimes things that come out of our mouth are going to be really stupid. And they're not going to sound right. And they may, honestly, it might even just be gibberish. It could be. There was one time I actually forgot what a pillow was called. I don't remember how I explained what a pillow was. I think it was something along the lines of, we need to go to the head sleep store. But sometimes that's just how it works. Sometimes our meds make us foggy. Sometimes the lack of sleep or too much sleep. I mean, there's so many factors when it comes to our mental health. Nobody should ever make you feel like you're less than competent. Because you're not. You might be in a moment, but a moment does not define who you are in a lifetime at all. So if you're going to take anything away from this one, I want you to take away that you are not selfish for having needs. You are not selfish for wanting your needs to be met. You're not selfish for existing. You're not too much. And just because you have a negative emotion doesn't make you a negative person. Honestly. Write that shit down. Put it on your bathroom mirror. It does not get any simpler than that.